Hello, so what I'd like you guys to do is watch this video and then take notes with me on the sheet that I passed out in class. So today we're going to talk about what are called literal equations. So literal equations are defined as equations consisting of two or more variables such that each variable can be expressed in terms of other variables. While solving literal equations, the goal is to isolate one variable and express the solution explicitly in terms of the remaining variables. Each variable in a literal equation signifies a quantity, and we solve literal equations in order to get more information about a certain variable. So I'm going to go through a few examples with you here. So for example A, it tells us the circumference of a circle is c equals 2 pi r. And it says, what is the radius? So first of all, the radius is r in this equation. And what we're doing here is we're trying to isolate r. Okay, so when it says, what is the radius? It means that's the variable we're trying to solve for. We're trying to isolate it or get it alone. And so currently in this equation, on the right side, we see 2 times pi times r. So those are multiplied together. And the opposite of multiplying is dividing. So in order to get rid of the 2 and the pi, since those are being currently multiplied by r, the opposite operation would be to divide them. So we're going to divide both sides of this equation by 2 pi. So that's going to cancel my 2 pi's on the right side. So on the left, what's remaining is c over 2 pi, and that's equal to r. All right, let's try another one. So for letter B, it says, given d equals rt, solve the equation for t. So just so you know, in the equation, whenever it says to solve for a given variable, that is the variable that you're going to isolate. So just to be clear, this means we're going to isolate t. If it says to solve for t, we want to isolate t. We want to get t alone. All right, so I'm going to rewrite this problem here. It says d equals r times t. So this is the formula for distance. Distance equals rate times time. And it says we want to solve for t, so we want to get t alone. Currently, r is being multiplied by t, so the opposite of multiplying the r would be to divide the r. So we're going to get d over r equals t. And that would be our final answer. Okay, let's try another one. So for letter C, it gives us the equation. This is actually the equation for area of a triangle, 1/2 times base times height. And it says solve the equation for h. So again, when it says for h, that means we're going to isolate h. We want to get h alone. So I'm going to rewrite this question down here. All right, so I have a 1/2 and a b that are both multiplied by the h. And a nice way to get rid of a fraction, just one fraction, is to multiply by its reciprocal. So I'm going to multiply the reciprocal of 1 over 2 is 2 over 1. And so I'm going to multiply that on both sides. So whenever you multiply a number by its own reciprocal, you just get 1. So all I have remaining here on the right side now is just 1bh basically, or just bh. Oopsie. There we go, bh. And then on the left side, 2 over 1 is 2, and 2 times a is 2a. Now the next step to solve for h is to get rid of its coefficient, I guess, or the other factor there, which is b. So the opposite of multiplying by b is dividing by b. So I'm going to divide both sides by b, And then on the left, I have remaining 2a over b. And on the right, I finally got h isolated. So that's my answer. Okay, for letter D, I'm going to rewrite this. We have P equals 2L plus 2W. And it says solve the equation for L, the length. So again, if it says for L, that means we want to isolate L. That means get L alone. So in order to get L alone, I have 2L plus 2W on the right. So I'm going to start by subtracting 2W on both sides. And so on the left, I have P minus 2W. And on the right, I have remaining 2L. So notice I have two separate terms on the left. They're not like terms. They're just going to stay P minus 2W. And then in order to get rid of the 2 so I can isolate the L, currently we're multiplying by the 2, so the opposite there would be to divide by 2. So we divide both sides of the equation by 2, and we end up with P minus 2W all over 2 equals L. And that would be my final answer. We've solved the equation for L. All right, flip to the next page. I'm just going to do a couple more of these with you. And then for the rest of your assignment, I want you to finish the ones we didn't finish. So I'm going to do, I'm actually just going to do one more with you. I'm going to do number 7 with you. So take a look at number 7 there at the bottom. And it says solve for t. It says A equals P times the quantity 1 plus RT, solve for t. Well, the t is stuck inside of some parentheses I see there. So we have to get it out of there. The only way we can kind of start working with this equation to get t isolated is we're first going to distribute the p. So I have p times 1, which is p, and then p times r times t is just prt. So now I have two separate terms, and I can finally start isolating the t. So first of all, I'm going to get rid of any term that's not containing t. So I'm going to subtract p on both sides. So I have a minus p on the left. And then on the right side, I have prt. So finally, for my last step, I currently on the right side have p times r times t. Well, the t is being multiplied by pr, so the opposite of multiplying by pr would be to divide by pr. So those are going to cancel on the right, and now we've got t alone, and it equals a minus p all over pr. And there's our final answer. All right, so for your assignment, what I want you to do is finish the remaining 7 questions on this side, and then we'll go over everything in your questions next class. Okay, thank you.